My parents skipped my college graduation and then told everyone they paid for it. I'm Grace Liu, 22. I worked 2 jobs for 4 years. No help, no excuses. They missed the one moment I needed them, then used my name to open to over $1,000 in debt. And when I asked why, they said, "You're working now. It's not like it hurts you." Have you ever had someone take credit for your struggle and leave you alone with the cleanup? Drop us if you've ever had to pay for more than just bills. This isn't a story about getting even. It's about what happens when you stop asking to be seen and start choosing yourself. I still remember the way the sunlight hit my cap and gown. I'd imagined that moment 100 times. The walk across the stage, the flash of a camera, the hug from mom, the awkward but proud thumbs up from dad. Instead, I stood alone behind the auditorium curtain, clutching my phone like a lifeline. One new message. "Hey, sweetie, we won't make it. The Super Bowl party at Uncle Tom's, remember? We promised we'd bring the dip." That was it. No congratulations, no "we're proud of you." Just dip. I'm Grace Liu, 22 years old, the first in my family to graduate college. 4 years of scraping by, juggling 2 jobs, hunting for scholarships, eating dollar ramen to save tuition money, and they missed it. For a football party they could attend any year. Growing up in Minneapolis, my parents, Mike and Linda, weren't cruel. They just weren't there. Not emotionally, not for school plays, not for science fairs. When I won a regional marketing award junior year, they said, "You know awards don't mean much in the real world, right?" At 13, I stopped waiting for them to show up. But graduation, I let myself hope. My roommate Lily had her whole family fly in from Seattle. Bouquets, signs, even a home-cooked lunch. I borrowed her extra lipstick and pretended I wasn't scanning the crowd for familiar faces. No one came. I walked across that stage with a fake smile and a shaky heart. I heard scattered applause, not from my family, but from Lily's parents in row 7. And then I cried in the parking lot, in my gown, next to a car I couldn't afford to fill with gas. What they didn't know, what I didn't know, was that this moment wasn't rock bottom. It was the start of the unraveling. And what came next? Even I wasn't ready for it. Denver was supposed to be a clean slate. I had a job offer from one of the fastest-growing marketing agencies downtown. A tiny studio apartment, walking distance to work. I even bought myself a thrift store coffee table and told myself it was a fresh start with character. But that feeling didn't last long. It started when my rental application got flagged. The leasing agent looked up from her screen and gave me this tight-lipped smile. "Sorry, Grace, your credit score's a little complicated." I blinked. My what? I checked my credit report that night, curled on the floor with a bowl of cereal and a sick feeling in my stomach. And there it was, $24,000 in credit card debt. Opened under my name, same birthday, same social, same address I grew up in, my parents' house in Minneapolis. I called my mom the next day. "Hey, do you know anything about a credit card in my name?" Long pause, then laughter. "Oh, honey, we just used your info temporarily, just to get approved. Nothing serious. We're making the payments." She said it like I'd asked about borrowing a hoodie. I was speechless. Not angry, yet just stunned. Like I'd missed a warning sign that everyone else saw but me. But that wasn't even the worst part. 3 days later, my mom posted a picture on Facebook, a throwback of me in my cap and gown. Caption, "So proud of our girl, worth every penny of those 4 years." Worth every penny. Penny they never spent. Let me be clear, I worked cafe shifts until midnight. I applied for 17 scholarships, I ate frozen corn for dinner, and skipped buying a mattress for the first 6 months of college. They skipped my graduation, then told the world they paid for it. I didn't know what hurt more, being left out or being claimed for something I did alone. Have you ever had someone take credit for your struggle just because it made them look good? Let me know in the comments, because I'm still learning how to unpack that kind of betrayal. And what I did next wasn't loud, but it was the first step toward never being used again. I didn't tell anyone I was flying home, not Lily, not my coworkers, definitely not my parents. I just bought a one-way ticket to Minneapolis and packed light. 1 bag, 1 list in my notes app titled Proof. When I walked back into that old house on 48th Street, everything looked the same. Same cracked tile near the front door, same faded photo of our family at the state fair. Except now, I saw it all differently. "Hey, sweetie," Mom said from the couch, TV remote in hand. "Didn't know you were coming." "I needed to check something," I said. "Mail from a few months ago." She waved her hand vaguely. "Probably in the drawer near the kitchen. You want tea?" I didn't answer. I pulled open the drawer and there it was, a stack of unopened envelopes all addressed to me. Chase, Capital One, Bank of America, payment overdue, minimum balance due. My name, their address. I flipped one open and read the charges out loud. 3 separate purchases at Home Depot. 1 at Joe's Auto. "You needed tires, Dad." From the other room, Dad called out, "It's not what you think." I turned the corner slowly, holding the envelope like it was radioactive. "You used my name, my credit, without asking. We were going to tell you eventually," Mom said, not looking up from the TV. "Besides, you're working now. It's not like it hurts you." That was the moment. Not when I found out about the debt. Not even when they skipped graduation. But when they minimized it. Like it was no big deal. Like I was overreacting. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just stood there, feeling the final thread snap. I packed that night in silence. The childhood desk I once did homework on still had my name carved into the side. I ran my fingers over it once, then walked away. By morning, I'd checked into a budget hotel near the airport, booked the next flight to Denver. I didn't leave a note. I didn't owe them one. Some endings don't come with screaming or slammed doors. They come when you finally stop asking someone to treat you like you matter. Have you ever walked away without a fight because the fight was already over? Because that's what this was. Not an explosion, just a quiet door closing. For good. Back in Denver, everything felt louder. Maybe it was just my own thoughts filling the silence. I couldn't stop replaying Mom's voice. "It's not like it hurts you." I used to think family debt was something you just absorbed. You pitch in, you bend, you wait for them to notice you're drowning, but not this time. I booked a free consultation with a legal clinic downtown. I was nervous, hands sweating through the paperwork. The woman across the desk glanced over my file, then looked up kindly. "This isn't just financial misuse, Grace. It's identity fraud." That word, fraud, rattled me. But she wasn't wrong, and something about hearing it out loud gave me permission to stop making excuses for them. We filed the dispute. I sent official letters. I froze my credit. I contacted the banks. Each step felt like severing an invisible cord I'd been dragging since I was a teenager. The silence from my parents didn't last long. Dad called first. I didn't pick up, so he left a voicemail. "After all we've done for you, this is how you treat your family?" A few days later, my little brother texted, "Chi làm gì mà để cả xóm Đông Nam lên là chỉ cắt đứt với ba mẹ vậy? Người ta cưới vào mắt ba mẹ luôn đó." I didn't respond. Funny how no one had time for my award ceremonies, but everyone had time for neighborhood gossip. They weren't mad because I cut ties. They were mad because I stopped being useful. That month, my landlord finally approved a new lease with a co-signer from work, Lily's aunt, who barely knew me but said, "You seem like someone who just needs one person to believe in her." I cried for 10 minutes in my new kitchen the day I moved in. Not because I was sad, because I felt light. There was no yelling, no confrontation, but I knew something had shifted back home. I wasn't there to remind them to pay the electric bill. I wasn't wiring emergency cash when the car broke down. And for the first time, they felt my absence. Not because I made a scene, but because I stopped filling the space they expected me to hold. Some houses don't collapse with a bang. They just slowly rot. Once the one holding up the roof walks away. I didn't post anything for weeks. No rants, no "let me tell you what really happened," just silence. But silence has weight. And eventually, people started asking questions. One day, my cousin Annie texted from Chicago. "Hey, weird question. Your mom said you got into debt from bad spending habits in college. That true?" I stared at the screen. A month ago, I might have stayed quiet. But now, not true. I covered my own tuition. They opened accounts in my name. I've been fixing the mess since. No anger, no drama, just the truth. It was enough. 2 days later, I got a follow-up text. Just so you know, she's been telling everyone she and your dad paid for your whole degree. That night, I opened my laptop and uploaded one photo. Me in my graduation gown, standing alone outside the auditorium. No parents, no celebration, just me, clutching the diploma I paid for with 4 years of exhaustion. Caption: no debt, no help, just me and the version of myself I never stopped fighting for. It wasn't meant to call them out. It was a memorial to everything I did alone. I didn't tag anyone, didn't mention names. But somehow, the people who needed to see it, saw it. By the end of the week, I had old classmates DMing me with stories. How they were shamed into silence, guilt-tripped for success, blamed for breaking family unity just because they wanted space. I wasn't alone. One girl wrote, "Your post gave me words I didn't know I needed. My parents didn't show up to my law school graduation either. I thought I was just being ungrateful for feeling hurt." And that's when I realized, maybe we don't need to scream to be heard. Sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is stop pretending everything was okay. At work, I quietly offered to mentor our new intern. She's first gen too. Nervous? Brilliant. A little too apologetic. I see myself in her. I told her what I wish someone had told me. You don't owe anyone your silence, especially when they tried to erase what you built. That's how the truth spreads. Not through confrontation, but through choosing to live out loud. Without permission, without shame, and without editing out the parts that hurt. 1 year after I walked across that stage alone, I took a solo trip to Rocky Mountain National Park. No celebration, no cake, just me, a small thermos of coffee, and a sky so wide it made everything else feel small. I'd been living in Denver long enough to call it home. The apartment wasn't fancy, but it was mine. Secondhand bookshelf, twinkle lights, a balcony garden that somehow survived my inconsistent watering. Most importantly, peace. No surprise phone calls asking for a little help. No passive-aggressive texts about being too busy for family. Just quiet. And room to think. Work was going better than I imagined. I'd been promoted to campaign coordinator last month, not because I was loud, because I did the work and didn't wait for someone to notice. And my intern? She's thriving, speaks up in meetings now, still says sorry too much, but I remind her gently, confidence isn't arrogance. It's remembering who you are before they told you who you should be. One afternoon, while organizing files at work, I came across a sticky note she'd left on my desk. "Thank you for making space for someone like me. You have no idea how much it means." I smiled, not the performative kind, the kind that comes from somewhere deep. I still talk to my parents, but only when I choose to. Short calls, surface topics, clear boundaries. Last Christmas, I sent them a photo book. No long message, just 2023 in review from the life I'm building. They didn't respond, but this time, it didn't gut me. Because I finally understood something. Just because they gave me life doesn't mean they get to shape it. I still get pangs of longing, of wishing things were different, but they pass. And what's left is mine. Have you ever built a life outside what people expected of you? One that maybe doesn't look impressive from the outside, but feels real, finally? Tell me about it in the comments. Let's make this space a reminder that walking away isn't weakness. Sometimes it's the first real decision you make for yourself, because healing doesn't always look like reconciliation. Sometimes it looks like planting herbs on your windowsill, drinking coffee in silence, smiling without asking anyone if it's okay to be proud of yourself. And honestly, that's more than enough.